What's going on, y'all? This is Greg, and it's another great day. It's not Sunday, and first off, I have to apologize. I didn't do my inspirational Sunday video message, whatever you want to call it. That's one of my trademarks. I usually do a recap the day after the game, and I didn't. Excuse but no excuse. The day was more full than a typical Sunday. I had to adjust. I had a little business meeting. They kind of threw me off. They had to rush and take the kids to a birthday party. Now, I was just kind of out of it, just trying to relax. I don't know what it was. I felt like I want to take a nap. I don't know what was going on, but I didn't shoot my video. And it would have been the perfect place. I was at a park. It was nice and surrounded. I could have walked and did my video. I just wasn't into it. So, and then I got home and realized it was late. And I was like, I'm going to do it. And then time just went by. But, maybe it was meant to be. So, I got to get it in. I'm going to get this message in. And I was actually inspired on, probably was Sunday morning. I mean, I a few little things, man. I'm all about inspiration. At the end of the day, like I say, it's bigger than football. It's bigger than life. I mean, it's bigger than life. Is bigger than football. I don't know, bigger than life, but it could be that too, however you want to look at it. Because we can really look at this thing. We spend a lot of time looking at these games. Some people debate, some people gamble. But like Coach Prime would say, don't let these experiences, your loss or your wins, don't miss an opportunity on a lesson that you can learn. When you put so much time into something, you better be getting something out of it. And that's something I knew even when I built my channel. I want to make this thing worthwhile. I played sports, but I'm not all sports, guys. I'm not a sports head. But whatever I do, I want it to be able, I can get something out of it in life. And the only reason I run with these buffs, I'm a bandwagon Coach Prime, but Coach Prime makes sure you get something out of it other than just football. I'm not about to play football. I don't even want to play football at this point. That's 20 years ago. But I can respect the principles of the game, the principles of, the X's and O's and the strategic component, the teamwork component, the camaraderie, the lessons and overcoming and triumph and victory and defeat, and all these things actually apply to life. Do y'all not realize that? I mean, I'm sure a lot of you do, but some people don't, especially if they didn't play ball. That's why a lot of corporations and a lot of business people, they seek former athletes. They say, you don't even have to have a background. We'll teach you how to do the business, but we want your mentality. It's certain mentality that comes with an athlete, especially playing up at higher levels. Okay, not just little league. Maybe you can get it. Maybe you got it out of high school, but you definitely get it in college and maybe in the pros. But college is that real place, where you're coming into adulthood and you're really learning about who you are as a person and what you want to be in life. I mean, a lot of people haven't played college ball, but it's a bit different. I was just talking with a guy yesterday. I was in high school. I played multiple sports, and I never did year-round anything. I got a chance to get a fresh, perspective on everything and just go into a different season, different training. But when I went to college, it was a culture shock to me because, one, we didn't really have a program like that, like a training program year round. I did most of my own. Then, we trained in the off season, whatever, as far as the summer, but not even in the off season. So when I got to college, it was a culture shock. Like, whoa, we got to go have film early in the morning. I mean, we started doing that my senior year on our own. We never was the coaches. So I guess that kind of helped me, but it was like, okay, we going to do workouts in the off season. Once the season over, we still getting up at 5 in the morning. Okay, we did it during the season. I'm thinking on the off season, my first year, I'm gonna get a break from it. No, it was year round, 5 o'clock in the morning. Eyes barely awake, working out. It takes a lot of discipline, and you better not miss it. You're on scholarship, right? So it's a lot of discipline to go to that. You better go to sleep. Better do your homework night before go your butt to sleep because you got to get up early in the morning, pretty much four days a week, 5 days a week during the off season. And no matter if you went out on that Thursday night or not. So it was just that discipline. You still better go to class. You don't go back to your room and go to sleep and miss class. You better go get something to eat and go to class, especially if you had early classes. And if you didn't, you're going to fail. If you didn't have that discipline or that, whatever that drive to, go to class, tired, sleepy, and, have 2 classes after that, have something later on that evening, I don't know. So it's a lot you can learn as an athlete. Doing stuff when you don't want to, doing stuff when you don't feel like it. And that's what we don't get to see on the other side of these players, the work that it takes. Outside of their game performance, it's a lot to it. We see the misassignments, we see the lack of effort, we see a lot of things, but we don't see all it takes up to that point. And what I really seen, especially when we're talking about today, I want to talk about adjustments. The biggest thing we complain about the Colorado Buffaloes, they don't make the adjustments from week to week. We tired of seeing, even Coach Prime is tired of seeing the O-line still missing blocks. Shador still getting sacked. Defense is still not wrapping up. They still doing busted coverages. They can't stop the drag route, the same drag route across the field. They still confusing the secondary, giving up deep balls. They still getting penalties, at the wrong time. Special teams, blunders galore, 2, 3, 4, 5 a game, multiple penalties, and it's just not making the adjustments, whether it's making adjustments in the players, personnel, or whether it's making adjustments in the scheme to be, okay, we didn't have a blocked field goal this week. Thank God, because the field goals matter. And it's like, we can see it on a game. You can see it from your perspective, from the outside looking in, and you wonder why the people in the game, the coaches, you get out on them. The players, why are you still making the same mistakes? Bench him. You wonder why they can't see it. Maybe because maybe they're too close. Maybe they need to take a step back. We are able to see it from a clear perspective, without fatigue, without pain, without pressure. It affects the mental ability to do what you need to do. We don't have that on us. We have a clear perspective. We can actually see all players. They have tunnel vision. They're in a helmet. And it's like, that's not an excuse, but those are the variables. They say it was 100+ degree heat. We watching it in our house in AC. You see them right here. Look here. It's about adjustments. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia, and it's not cold, but it's cool. And it's cool enough, where everybody's starting to get groggy. It's adjustment because your body adjusting. It's cool. You wake up without AC on. It's colder than if your AC was on, right? We have to make the adjustments. We have to change our dress, our attire. Them boys went from Boulder. Think about this. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's in the 50s. It's colder than Atlanta. And they're going to Arizona to 102, 103 degree the same day. They went in the plane with hoodies and sweatshirts on, and they got off in the pit of hell, it seemed like. It burning up. Think about the drastic change in environment they had to go through. That's another component. They said they were starting to get sick and everything because a lot of these boys not from there. And they starting to get, immune system is being affected from changing weather, right? They got to adjust. They got to go down there and play 100 degree heat. Play that. They didn't cramp up. They was hydrated. Great. They jump right back on the plane and go back to the cold weather the same day. And they're like, man, we're back to this cold. And think about it, you're not raised there. You're from the South. South is probably, Florida's probably a little warmer. It's cool here. But I'm saying from where they're from, it may be still warm. It's definitely warmer than what is in Boulder. They got to constantly adjust from week to week. They're going to be playing in Boulder next week. And then I think they go to UCLA. It may be a little warmer than California. Then they're going to come back, I believe, and play Oregon State. I think they play Oregon State and Arizona. Then they got to go to Washington, which is going to be cold. Then they got to go to Utah. It may be cold, especially by the time you get that late in the season. The rest of their season, they can mess around and see some snow towards the end. It's definitely going to be colder where they are. Everything is about adjustments. And it's like that in life. I was thinking about, when you're trying to make it in life, we have to do the same thing. We have to figure out when we're making mistakes and when stuff is not working for us, we got to constantly be a student of what we do. Some people call it a craft, but you got to be a lifelong student to make adjustments. Because when you really look at it, a lot of people, and they're professional, they have to get a continual education every year or every other year to stay on top of their game. But also, when you do make errors, you got to be able to make those adjustments to the point where you're able to make the correction. I said that in baseball. When I played baseball, when you go in a slump, you got to go back to the foundation, back to the basics. You have to go get on that tee. You have to go soft toss. You got to get in that cage. and see where your swing is breaking down. You need to pull that camera out. Again, that's that outside perspective. You tunnel vision, you need somebody else's perspective. You got to go get with a coach. Oh, okay, you're dropping your hands. That's baseball. Football, the same thing. You missing tackles. Where you breaking down? Are you keeping your head up? Or is your head across? Or is your feet driving when you make contact? Is you stopping your feet? Are you reaching, or are you making contact with your shoulders? It's bad habits can develop and you don't even realize it because it's you. So you need an outside perspective. You also can't be stubborn. You can't be tough. You can't be too stubborn to make the adjustment. And somebody gives you the perspective, or you see you making it, you need to be real to say, I need to make some changes. And then somebody else who you trust, hopefully in the sport, you have a coach. Maybe you have a coach in your regular life. Maybe you have a mentor. Somebody's going to have to give you perspective, to give you insight that you don't have. You got to make the adjustments the same way these kids got to make. Because if you don't, you're going to pretty much fail the rest of your life. You ever looked at somebody and they make the same amount of money their whole life, they never progress? You call it a curse. Maybe it is in some cases, maybe in a lot of cases. But you stuck. That is a person who's either one, don't have nobody to help them make the adjustments, mentor them, get them insight, get them feedback, or they just stubborn. I'm just too old. I was born this way. Well, I ain't finna change now. Well, nothing wrong with me. That's your mental issue. But you see that don't work in sports, get you benched. But in real life, you get away with it. It just affect your bank account. It affect your relationships. It affect your progression because you refuse to change. And everybody can make comments about these kids, but again, apply to your life. They ain't making adjustments. Maybe it look a lot like you. Maybe you stuck on the same stuff. Maybe you making the same mistakes. Maybe you making the same mistakes in your business, in your career. Maybe you making the same mistakes in your relationships. Maybe you making the same mistakes in your health. You want to lose weight for 20 years now. You ain't made no adjustments. You still eat the same thing. You keep saying you're gonna go work out. You don't do it. It's like, it should humble you to see these sports if you look at it with the right lens, because it should inspire you. They going after their dreams, or they doing something, and you just sit on the couch. What are you doing to make your life better? What are you doing to get better? You demanding they get better. You should use that same energy to make yourself get better. Do you need to go back and learn a trade, or go to school? Do you need to go and do better with your pastime? Okay, you watch the game, but outside of that, do you just watch all games all day and hide behind the ambition of some kids? Or do you take some of that energy and you say, well, I'm gonna go do better? I know I started this YouTube channel. I was watching everybody else's channel, talking to everybody else who don't want to hear. Now I have my audience and I'm building. I stepped up and I did. Like I tell people who comment, but I'm in the game. Get in the game somewhere. You don't have to start a YouTube channel, but you got to get in the game. They're in the game. You can't talk about somebody when you ain't in the game, whether it's in the game or in your own game, right? So I think this ends well with one thing that Coach Prime and the team represent, and that you got to have that faith. I mentioned this before. You got to have that belief, that I believe, because if you don't have that, none of this stuff I said even matter. You're not going to do anything. You're going to sit around and make excuses because you really don't believe in yourself. And see, that definitely don't work on the football field, because you're going to get exposed, because you're not going to perform, and you're going to make mental errors, because you really got to have confidence. Travis Hunter has confidence. He has exceptional confidence, and that exceeds his talent and other people's talent. He refuses to lose. But then somebody else go out there tiptoeing around. They don't have nothing to do with, they think they're better than Travis, but they don't have it here. You got to have a certain belief. You got to have belief that you're good enough, and you got to have that belief. I can't fail. I refuse to fail. I refuse to quit. If you fall down, you get back up. Travis, he'll get burnt. He say, it ain't going to happen again, and it don't. He refused that it happen again. You catch it on him one time, he bound to get an interception and knock your head off one. He refused. You got to have that belief in yourself that you are good enough and that you can do it. Or else you can forever hide behind everybody else and make excuses. You can forever hide behind everybody else and say, maybe even give them advice. You should do this. You should do that. Why don't you do it? Because you really don't want to face the fact that you don't believe in yourself. You can't hide behind everybody forever. Use everybody. Look at them. They're chasing their dream. They got their scholarship. Coach Prime, 8 toes, And it seems like he got more commercials now than he did when he was playing. He's the biggest thing going at mid-50s, health issues, and he's still going. That should inspire you. It inspires me. He's more active than ever. With all the health issues he could have going on behind, with every family issue he have going behind, he's focused and he's driven on doing what he's meant to do. And that keeps him focused and that keeps him driven. And that overrides all the pain he could be going through. That overrides all the personal issues he can be going through. It's fuel. Purpose is fuel. I hope you find your purpose. I hope you live it out to some degree, 30-fold, 60-fold, 100-fold. I hope you live it out to the point where it affects somebody. It affects you first and foremost, and it affects other people. That's what Coach Prime is doing. And it all started with a belief. You got to believe you can do it. And you got to believe in yourself. So with that being said, if y'all like what we coming with, go ahead and like, share, subscribe, hit that bell notification. Greg said it, and I'll see y'all soon.